Nearly. Yes, here we are.
Hello.
Here we are with Yinka.
Welcome. Today is a special one.
ladies.
Our first woman. Yay.
Yes,
Yeah.
third guest, first woman, and we had you immediately on the list of people that we wanted to talk to. No word of a lie. You were the second email that I sent out, and I was so happy that you said yes so quickly.
How
Yes.
on earth would I say no to the queens of the Biscuit? Never.
Amazing.
So grateful to be here. Thank you for having me, ladies.
Thank you for being here, Yinka. So welcome to the Gratitude Talks, and we've got Yinka today. And rather than us saying stuff about you that might not do you justice, what would you like people to know about you? Introduce yourself, please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Well, my name is Yinka, Ewuola, and I do a number of different things. So I coach, I consult, and I'm a business strategist. And I say that I support women in business to build thriving and profitable businesses. So I'm really about helping women to really create wealth in and through their business. And that's by focusing on a couple of things. I would say it's slightly different angles to what are commonly spoken about. So my focus is helping them through a focus on cash flow and strategy for the business, and mindset and habits for the business owner. So that's what I do.
Love that.
And why did you go into this field?
Amazing question. I went into this field for a couple of different reasons. Number one is my mum she was the reason I came into the business world. She was diagnosed with breast cancer while I was working in banking, and she was trying to, one of the things that I often say is the reason why I do what I do is so women don't have to make the false choice between their health and their wealth or their money and their life. And my mum was put in a position where it seemed like that was what she was needing. She was trying to fight for her business and fight for her life. And I was like, not on my watch. I only get one mum. There's more than enough time to make all the money in the world, but would never get my mum back. So I stepped out of my banking career in order to help her in her business to enable her to fight cancer, which she did. She kicked cancer's butt. She went climbing up Mount Kilimanjaro to celebrate 10 years free of cancer. And I had the opportunity, and I do say it was an opportunity, even though at the time it was blood, sweat, and tears, but I had the opportunity to understand what it takes, A, to turn a business around, but B, what really moves the needle when it comes to business. When the chips are down and there is no time to faff around and to do the things that, you might want to do, as opposed to what actually needs to get done. That period really helped me to understand what are the most important things to help a business to thrive. And for the business, it's cash flow and strategy. And for the business owner, it's mindset and habits. So that's why I do what I do.
What an amazing story. I'm so glad to hear it had a happy ending.
Oh, definitely. I was with my mum yesterday because for us, obviously in the UK, we had Mother's Day. And yeah, just seeing her surrounded by her grandchildren. At the time she was diagnosed, she had no grandchildren. And now her, she has, I don't want to forget the age, she has 5.5 grandchildren. So but just seeing the joy, like every day, I would make that decision every single day, again and again. And that's the beauty of what entrepreneurship gets to bring into our world. It gave us the chance and the responsibility. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't all, as I said, blood, sweat, and tears at the time, but it gave us a chance and the opportunity to really take control of the situation and to create space to create the outcome that we wanted. So, yay, Mum.
I can hear a lot of gratitude in those words as
100%,
well.
100%. And don't get me wrong, my mum is incredible and infuriating and amazing and frustrating. She's a mum, she's a human. And that's the thing. Like, we often, Mother's Day, for example, we often deify our moms are perfect. No, they're not. They're humans. They're allowed to make mistakes. They have made many. And we get to stand in the end of, my mom is the most remarkable human you will ever meet. And she gets on my last nerves more often than I get to. But I'm grateful every day. And I'm grateful that I had the opportunity. I'm grateful that I came into business in such a difficult situation, because at least, yes, I cried and I bled and I sweated at the time, but at least I have turned that pain into a real powerful purpose. And I've been able to create something that means that no one else has to go through what I went through. And yeah, I'm hella grateful for that every day.
So what do you do on a daily basis maybe to cultivate that gratitude? Is there anything, do you have a practice, or is it more of a as and when? Tell us about your everyday life with gratitude.
Yes, great question. Well, I am someone who focuses a lot on my own mindset and my own habits. And I do believe that gratitude is one of those secret weapons. People often think about gratitude, I'm grateful for something, for example, that has happened. So you get the thing and then you're grateful. And one of the, again, game-changing switches for me is I'm grateful in advance. I'm grateful for the things that are coming. I'm grateful for the things that I have now that are creating an opportunity for me to create what I want in the future. So yeah, I do. I have a gratitude journal that I am acquainted with on a daily basis, but I'm grateful in the moment. And actually, as a mum, one of the things that I do as well is really focus on supporting my children to be grateful. They live a charmed life. They have no idea, because, they have nothing to compare it to. But, as a parent, I'm proud to say that I, created opportunities for my children that I didn't have when I was a child. That's the whole point. And yet, because I know what I had when I was young, I'm grateful, but they don't have anything to compare it to. And so what I'm also working to cultivate in them is a real attitude of gratitude and a practice of gratitude for big things and for small, to really understand the difference between the things you want and the things you need, to really understand the fact that, yes, when we don't get everything that we want, the fact is that our needs are met. That, we often have this sense of people around the world suffering. We're in the United Kingdom, and things like food banks have never been more used than they've ever been before. So people are suffering right on our doorstep. And so it's really important that we are grateful, and that gratitude leads to action, leads to how we show up in kindness, leads to how we give people more leverage and more gratitude, for example, reduces your instance of short-temperedness and road rage, and just tiny small interactions. You're less likely to tut in the shop if you're in a queue and it's taking a bit longer than you want it to. So yeah, gratitude is very much something I work to keep at the forefront of my mind, because it's very easy for us to forget just how incredibly privileged and fortunate we are, moment by moment.
And do you, because I guess because you come from a background where you say, you're less privileged than your children might be now. How easy is it to teach your children something that comes from almost like a theoretical experience rather than a practical lived experience?
Well, one of the things, we are churchgoers, so they have the opportunity to see all sides of life, the work that we do, community work that we do, opportunities for them to really understand, like you said, not just in theory, but also in practice. So I'm really excited. My eldest now, we make sure that we engage, with, some of the outreach, for example, that some of the local churches are involved in are in things like food bank collections, are in things like working with refugees, working with homeless people. But also, and again, that's a very extreme, example of the difference between their life and the lives that my children have. But even just on a day-to-day basis, the idea, for example, of there are going to be children in their school, in their classes, whose parents, they don't work, or they're not able to work. Really talking to them about their friends, and just even the most basic things: food, shelter, mental health. That they are things that my children don't have to experience, but they know people that do. And so what I've been trying to really support them with is a sense of awareness. Be aware, but recognize that the idea that, for example, your mum and your dad, they work, they run businesses, whatever. Every last one of the words in that sentence is a privilege. The only reason I can do these things is because I have, a reasonable level of sound mental health on an ongoing. What happens if? What happens if? And they're never too far away from, hardship, challenge. And so it's about compassion. But that compassion, first of all, comes from noticing. Because it's very easy to walk around the world oblivious to other people's pain if you want to be. And actually, that's not the kind of, I don't think the world needs any more of those kinds of citizens. So I'm trying my very best to help them to see and notice, what is the sign? If so-and-so comes into school, sad today. If so-and-so, if they, if you have a packed lunch on a school trip and they have a packed lunch and their packed lunch is dramatically less than yours, I say to my, I pack extra things, share it with your friends. It's not because they, it's just a matter of kindness. It's also a matter of being observant. You don't want to create a giant program where that child feels embarrassed that they have less. You're just being a friend. Have, have an extra biscuit, have an extra something. Just be a good human. It really isn't difficult if you are willing to be aware of how privileged you are and how you get to use your privilege to help others too.
I love that empathy piece in particular, because I think that will help them go so far in life, because once they are, colleagues or employers even, that will make all the difference. If they can see that if someone's not performing, they might ask the right questions and not punish them, or, they will hopefully walk up to them and say, are you okay today? And that will help people open up, and they will find out why they're maybe not performing, rather than going down that spiral that's not helping anybody. So
absolutely. And I think that it comes, we talk a lot, and you're right, empathy is so important. But like Saskia mentioned, we can have it in theory, and actually it's important that we have it in practice. There is, and this is where the idea of noticing difference is so powerful. Difference is, diversity is power, it's love, it's all the thing. But also noticing difference is also really important, because it's important that you're able to recognize it and then understand, what does that mean? If a child has, far less than you, what does that mean? What do you get to be and do in that way? While at the same time still being a kid and, wanting to do what you want to do. And, I'm not trying to put the World Peace Corps in your packed lunch or anything like that. It's simple acts. But like I said, it's one of the things I'm always reminded as a parent is that they don't do what you say. My kids don't do what I say. They do what they see me do, and they do what they see me promote. And so I have to always be mindful of not just my talk, but also my walk.
100%.
I don't do what I say.
Can I talk to you a little bit about, I remember, because obviously we met each other, the three of us, kind of on LinkedIn before we ever met. So I only knew you through your posts.
Yes.
And your posts are always so honest, so real, so unfiltered, and just thought-provoking. And I think I once read a post where you spoke about money quite candidly. And I remember that it took me aback a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that is it's unmistakable. Like you couldn't really move around that subject and your thoughts about it. And obviously, you know, like you say, you're about creating wealth for women. How does money sit in the world of gratitude to you?
Really great question. Again, people often think that we get to acquire money and then we're grateful. And, you know, and the more money we have, the more stuff we get, and the more we have to be grateful for. And actually, it's what I'm always reminded of and reminding of too, is that kindness is actually free. You know, the acts of kindness that we get to engage in, it doesn't require us, for example, to spend a lot of money in order to be grateful or to be kind. And yet, it is incredibly important for us to be able to turn our mind towards kindness, to have that financial and that money piece sorted. And so what I'm often focusing on and what I'm talking about a lot of the time is how we are doing ourselves a disservice by not focusing on and getting that part sorted. You know, we often see, you know, because of media depiction, we often see, you know, people with a lot of money, you know, the idea, for example, of children with a lot of money, the idea of spoilt brats comes to mind. You know, media loves to villainize and to create money in opposition to gratitude and kindness. And actually, I believe it's completely the opposite. The more money I've been able to bring into my world, the more kindness I've been able to demonstrate, the more impact the kindness of my heart has been able to demonstrate. I was speaking recently because when I was at university, I'm about to age myself as well. I signed up I sponsored a child. I began to sponsor a child for education. And my sponsored child has gone through her entire education. She's gone through university, and now she sponsors children. And so I got a picture of my sponsored grandchild. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the only instance I'm willing to be called a grandchild or a grandparent. I'm not old enough to have grandchildren yet. But to see that kindness consistently acted upon month after month, giving that money through good times and bad, through real sickness and health times too, to be able to see the impact that kindness and that opportunity is given. And now, you know, she's sponsoring children. Those children are going through their own education. It's such a privilege. And so money gets to amplify the desires of the holder. So I feel really passionate that those who are kind, those who are really dialed into the attitude of gratitude, it's incumbent upon them to create as much wealth as they possibly can, and to have as much money as they will never have too much. And the reason they'll never have too much is because they will go and apply it to, you know, things that they want to see fixed, changes that they want to make, opportunities that they want to create for others. So for me, though, as I said, those who are kind, those who are minded and hearted to do incredible things in the world, to serve others, to do beautiful things in this world, it is incumbent upon them, it's their responsibility to get that money piece sorted, so that they can acquire and bring as much of it into their world, and they are able in return to create transformations, which is really exciting.
I love how that fitted in with what you said before about the paying forward when it comes to gratitude, because you sponsored a child as you were a student, which is not a time when we have a lot of money. Yes, you gave a little bit of it away to help someone else. And that's clearly a sign that you talk business, you mean business. That you
absolutely. And for us it was I did it. I my mum, for example, also has sponsored children. And I guess all I was, minded was that she was getting an opportunity she wouldn't otherwise have gotten. And so whenever when things were really hard, and I remember a few times I was like, oh, just cancel this direct. I was like, no. This is not the time. We can go one more month. We can go one more month. Yeah. And at times, there was like just one more month left. And yet, I'm grateful. I will never forget her final letter to me to say that I'm through the program. I've just graduated. I got a picture of her. I cried and cried. Like my kids were like, what is wrong with mom? I was like, oh my gosh, like it's such a privilege. And that's the thing, to be able to create wealth is a privilege. We are of sound mind, we're of sound body. Like the way that if you are able to create money and wealth in the world, why would you not use that privilege to be able to serve others? And that's for me, a really interesting part of the equation, because ultimately we forget that it's a privilege. And so we make it optional. Oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, I don't want to look salesy. Like it really isn't about you. If you have the power and the privilege and the opportunity to make wealth, then make it and then redistribute it and then, go do good in the world. And so just reminding myself, because as I often say, and Saskia, you highlighted, I'm quite forthright and quite direct in my content. But again, I think honesty is kindness. Someone cares about you, will tell you the truth. They won't let you fly into a ditch if they can see that they can help you. I think that's 100%. Again, kindness that often isn't in the way that most people understand it.
Yeah. What you said made me think about, I was listening to a podcast called How to Own the Room, and there was a lady on there who works with different communities all over the world. Her name is Britta Hernandez, I can't remember, Smith, I think. And she overheard a group of women in Nigeria speak on one of her visits, and they said it isn't about whether you have enough, but whether you care enough. And that's what I 100% hear what you are saying.
Oh my gosh, you've so inspired. That's going to be a post before the end of the week. It's exactly that. And I say this over and over again, because actually the idea of needing to, the one of the most self-absorbed positions I hear about women in business is, I'm not motivated by money, and I'm comfortable. And I'm like, it's not about you. It really isn't. It's not about having enough. It's about, do you care enough to put your skills, your offers, your opportunity, the amazingness that you have been given? Do you care enough about something to put that out there, acquire the wealth, and then go and do the thing? I love, love, love that reframe. I'm totally going to post about that.
And we have the same thinking, and that's a LinkedIn post. There's a LinkedIn post.
I love it.
What I just thought, because some of the people who are listening, they might now feel the need to work on their money mindset. What is your definition of money? If someone said, finish the sentence, money is, what would you say it is?
I would say anyone who doesn't feel the need to work on their money mindset is missing the point of what money gets to be. Because money is the most powerful and impactful soldier against poverty, against ignorance, and to create generation-changing impact for you, the world, your families, whoever, then the idea of not working to understand it better, do more about it, create more of it with ease. And don't hear what I'm not saying, because ultimately, yes, we can hustle and create lots of money, but actually we can do it with ease. You know, one of my hashtag for the year was rich and rested, because quite frankly, who wants to be rich and stressed? Like, nobody. And so there's always another level, even for me, you know, who is, you know, building, you know, I'm building a huge, my business is a baby big business, because my intention is to have significant and global impact around the world for women who want to create wealth in and through their businesses. And so my money, as I said, amplifies the desires of the holder. Why, if you know yourself to be a person who wants to create incredible good, who wants to serve, who wants to support, who wants to truly make a difference, the currency that helps you to do that best is money. And so why would you not want to be as effective as you can be and to make as much impact as you can create? And so, yeah, money is the best soldier you will ever have in that fight, and is the world's worst master. Never, ever follow money.
So leads us to a final question, I think, because it's nearly already 30 minutes gone.
I know, it's not so
talk to you. Yeah, we can talk to you for a whole afternoon. We must at some point talk to each other for a whole afternoon. Anybody in this entire world, if you could now talk to someone or express your gratitude for anybody on this planet, who would that be?
What an excellent question. I will say that I'm grateful in the most random of places. So one of the things, for example, as part of my gratitude practice, is I thank my children, and I find 3 reasons to thank them every day. And that is a practice that has been remarkable for their self-esteem, that has been really transformative in terms of their own seeking, you know, energy flows where attention goes. And so where I'm always looking for reasons to be grateful for them, they're always giving me more reasons to be grateful. But I would say, and it's a slight cheat answer, but I hope you'll deal with it. Like, I stand on the shoulders of giants, and both my grandmothers passed away not too many years ago. But if I had the opportunity to say thank you to anyone, I know they're not quite on the earth right now, but it would be them. It really would. You know, the trajectory change that they created for us as their descendants is what inspires me to want to be a good ancestor to my descendants. Like my grandmother on my mum's side, you know, she eloped with my grandfather and married for love in a time where, you know, that was not what she was supposed to be doing. On my father's side, my grandmother, again, she sent my father somewhere where he could get an incredible education in a way. And, you know, he was her only living child. So they made massive sacrifices in order for us for me to live the life I live today. And so I am so reminded of them. You know, I am Nigerian, so they are part of what we call my Oriki, where we call and we thank our ancestors, and, you know, we talk about what they did and we know their stories. But yeah, I'll never forget the hugs of them, the feel of them. Like, if I close my eyes, I can feel it now. And I'm truly grateful in the context. You know, we live in a world where there is a lot of inequity, there is a lot of challenge, there is a lot of people have done a lot of bad things, and yet these 2 women, you know, took it upon themselves to change how things were going to be for their children, and as a result of that, you know, the world, they're having world impact through their descendants, through their and as a result of that, they call me to be a better ancestor to my descendants. So yeah, my grands would be who I would be most grateful for. They shaped my parents, they shaped me, and they've shaped so much of what is to come.
Amazing. That's beautiful.
I feel so
Goosebumps.
emotional now. I'm about to burst into tears. I miss them so much. They were so remarkable. I'm so grateful for them. So yeah, thank you for calling them once again to memory today. I'm a walk differently this afternoon now. So
that's beautiful. Since we're coming to an end, would you mind sharing how people can connect with you if they want to hear more of you?
yes, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to do that. Yeah, come find me on socials. So LinkedIn is where I post daily. But I also have a presence on IG, Facebook. You can find me on Twitter as well. We'll talk about that another time. Or drop me an email at hello@callasuccess.com. I would love to talk all things gratitude, mindset, habits, cash flow, and strategy.
Amazing. And I will also make sure to put your links on all the platforms where this talk is going to be hosted.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a lovely conversation. And now I really miss my grands. So I can't wait to hug you.
I miss your grands.
Oh, no.
Thank you so incredibly much, for your time.
No,
and
thank you.
I know I've learned a little bit more about life in this last 30 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Speak soon.